Hello everyone, welcome to the Ranting Shop. It's me, Melissa. We're gonna get into some things. Ready to Love, the finale episode was absolutely dramatic, unnecessarily so. I'm referring to Chaz, and not to mention that imaginary love triangle from Patrice was entirely too funny. And that explosive reunion clip, oh my goodness, let us just get into things. So first of all, I already knew that Luron and Maya would not make it down the bridge, because I saw people talking about, oh, when they make it down the bridge, I hope Maya says no. And I'm like, are you guys not paying attention to these clips? Don't you see that they only show Maya and Luron in very casual clothing? Since when do they do bridge scenes in casual clothing? So I knew they broke up from that moment. And there was also a clip where we see that Maya walked away, and in this show we saw the context of all of that take place, but I knew they wouldn't have made it to the bridge. So let's go into what took place for the barbecue episode of Ready to Love. So all the guys coming together, they look like they're outdoors doing some picnic of some sort. And the conversation I said with Maya is too much for Luron, because basically Maya is telling him, you want this fairy tale ending and I'm just not gonna be able to give you that because you're too disrespectful. And he's claiming it's not for TV, just kiss for her, whatever. He ends up walking off, and then I think at that moment she realizes, okay, there's like nothing that can be resolved from this. So Maya tells Tommy and the group that she's done with Luron and the whole thing. Tommy wants to be a peacemaker, but I'm saying let that woman walk away, because what is even the point of standing between Luron and Maya thinking you can make something resolve out of like this situation? If they couldn't resolve it, why do you think you can resolve it, when you know very little about what happened? So I was kind of getting annoyed with Tommy, because I've seen Tommy get really upset with women being disrespected on the show. So I'm really shocked that he had so much grace for Luron. I'm so confused. And I'm thinking it's probably because he didn't get the full detail of what took place. Now, Luron went on Crystal Exo's page and he mentioned that prior to that scene, I suppose, they had been spending some time together. And he feels as if she's only now being upset with him because of the public backlash. And that could very well be the case, or it could be a situation where she felt like, okay, you apologized and he is really persistent and he wants to buy me things, I guess I'll accept it, and then when this shows or airs on TV, I'm gonna air him out. There's people that way, when you do them wrong and you forget, you say that you're sorry and whatever, they act as if, okay, they could tolerate you. So they forgive you, they forgive you, and you think everything is cool until something pops up, and then they bring it up again and you're stunned because you're thinking you have moved past it. But the whole time this person has been holding this thing in so that she can finally drop it when the time was right. And I think that that's what happened with Luron. He was very much taken off guard, and he keeps talking about being a simp and being taken for a fool, and he did look like a simp, and I'm not saying he was taken for a fool, but what I will say is he thought that he could always get ahead of a woman if she's been disrespectful to him, and it backfired on him because he fell for her more than she fell for him. You see, the game Luron plays only works when you like Luron more than he likes you. If he likes you more than you like him, and he plays that disrespectful thing in a way to get back at you, it's so easy for you to cut him off and for him to still come after you, and he still ends up looking stupid, which is what he did. So after she said no, He's like, oh, let's talk about it. Luron, leave this woman alone. She wants nothing to do with you. By the way, that whole montage he posted on his his Instagram page, he finally took it down after Maya took down her own clip that she commented on. And I might add that there about him showing his ass at the club. Will say, and what everyone is saying, is that they feel as if Maya should have taken responsibility for leading Luron on when she knew she wasn't romantically interested in him. And to that I agree. Now, I don't know 100% for sure whether she was or wasn't romantically interested in Luron, but based on what we saw from her body language, she wasn't. But she was interested enough to keep him around for the gifts. Now, I hope that's not true. If it is true, I think she also needs to take accountability for her actions as well. Now, let's talk about Chaz. Chaz, to me, seemed to be more focused on what Luron had going on as opposed to the two women that were in front of him. I think at that moment, he knew what he was going to do at the end. He takes Patrice to be interrogated by his brother, who's apparently this top secret agent in the military. Patrice's mind, according to her, is not made up. But the brother seems to think that Patrice is sincere in the way she feels. I think that with Patrice, she's really good at acting. I think Patrice is much like Chaz in that they're very good at working a room. They're very good at knowing what to say to get a favorable response and reaction from people. And I think in that regard, they're quite compatible. But then when the masks get taken off and you really see them for who they are, they're not that great. So he said that she was sincere, I guess. Now, Chaz meets Vanessa and brings up the lodge thing when he broke down. And his thing is, he felt like Vanessa wasn't there for him. Vanessa didn't give him grace. Vanessa wasn't understanding. And I just essentially said he wanted to be coddled in that moment of indecision, of confusion that he placed upon himself, self-inflicted confusion. And my thing about it is with Chaz, you decided, right? You already had issues deciding between, I think he always was gonna pick Vanessa, right? But he kept adding women to his roster. He had Rashina, then he went at the very last minute and added Patrice. And he created that confusion and turmoil. And so for him to want Vanessa to coddle him and be graceful to him when it seemed as if he's the one that created the turmoil and confusion is crazy. Especially because she's the one on the receiving end of the indecision. Imagine the anxiety when you don't know if you're gonna be chosen by someone you like, and that person is adding more people into the fray. Imagine the anxiety, and you want me, the anxious person, the person that is not sure where they stand with you, to coddle you and give you grace. Where is my grace? Where is my compassion? And I think that's where Vanessa was coming from. And one thing I will say about Vanessa is she doesn't really take too much accountability. I think she didn't see that she did anything wrong in that situation. Chaz wants her to just admit, okay, you're too tough. You're tough and you're not willing to be soft for me, you know. Vanessa doesn't know if she could choose Chaz. Patrice, the brother said, radiates positive energy, but Vanessa might be right for him, right? And that whole situation where the brother is like, oh my gosh, I love your nails. I thought that was really weird. I wonder if he has a toe and nail fetish. That is creepy. Now, I said I don't think he's choosing Vanessa, because every time they spoke, it seemed as if they never came to a positive conclusion. I think the more they spoke, the more Chaz was like, this woman is just not gonna be soft and feminine like I want her to be. And the thing with Vanessa is like you have to prove that, like, the thing with Vanessa, I think, is that she's not gonna be soft and feminine for a man that doesn't know what he wants. And I think she still had to stay in her masculine energy in that moment to protect herself, and he wanted her to transition into that feminine energy for him. And I think there's disconnects in both places, because in order for Vanessa to be in her feminine energy and to be soft and compassionate and graceful, she had to have been 100% sure of what Chaz was gonna do. She wasn't sure. She was in an unsafe place, and she was just not willing to be 100% vulnerable to Chaz at that time. She did not want to concede, you know. So I said that she kind of stands on business about things that bothers her and she thinks is not being addressed. But Patrice puts it aside if she sees that there's some emotional turmoil there. Chaz thinks it's not just about what Vanessa wants, but him as well. She doesn't leave room for him to be emotional. She doesn't leave room for him to be vulnerable, right? And I think it's just because when you're being emotional and vulnerable, you're operating in your feminine energy. And so for her, I guess she felt like she had to stay in her masculine energy because you, Chaz, was playing the role of the woman in the relationship. And I think what Vanessa wants, and she doesn't really compromise on, is a masculine man. I feel like she's not used to men operating in their feminine energy. So that really turns her off in a sense. So I guess in this scenario, it was uncharted territory for Vanessa. She didn't know what to do or how to react to a feminine man. So, okay. He claims she's toxic, possessive, and doesn't like his dog. At the final meeting of, let's just call this meeting of the roses. No, let's just call it petrified flower. Okay? So he claims she's toxic, she's possessive. Well, before I even talk about what he says, so they both sit down by the lake, and this is the final episode. They're deciding whether they want to choose each other or, go away from each other. And he was basically, she spoke first, and she's like, I'm not choosing you, right? Now notice that whenever Chaz has had situations with these women where he kind of had to let them go, it never worked out in his favor. Look at with Rashina. He wanted the final word. He wanted to be able to tell Rashina she is no longer ready to love, and he didn't get that opportunity with Rashina. He tried to get that opportunity with Vanessa, but it didn't work out because she said it first already. So you saying it first kind of diminishes if the other person says it too, because it's like, I've already said it, so it doesn't matter if you say it too. But I think he wanted his moment, and so she said, okay, it's you're cool or whatever, but we're not good for each other. I'm not picking you. And he went on this whole spiel of, oh, I brought you your favorite flowers, but I put a dead flower in it, and this dead flower represents my faded feelings that I had for you, and whatever the case may be. And I felt like that was so unnecessary and so dramatic, because it was unnecessary, and the only reason he did it was to hurt Vanessa's feelings. He wanted to have the last word, and he wanted it to be impactful. He wanted it to affect Vanessa. And visually speaking, in regards to Vanessa's demeanor, it didn't seem to move her either way. As she said, it made her even more happy that she made the decision that she made. And that right there is the issue with Chaz, the issue that Chaz has with Vanessa. It's simply that he cannot break her. He cannot seem to break her. Like no matter what he does, she stands firm on whatever she thinks. And that was the issue all throughout this relationship. And it is proven during their final meeting when he did all this dramatic Shakespeare BS. And she's like, okay, and gets up and leaves. It's like, you don't affect me. Your words don't do anything to me. And that was really funny to see. Now, Mika and Justin, they seemed cozy. Mika meets Justin's brother, who seemed extremely attracted to her. Says he's a lot to work with, which to me is a red flag. Mika breaks for Justin and said that she could potentially have a child with him. That's interesting. I saw somebody in the comments say they think Vanessa is unable to have children. It's not that she doesn't want to, it's that she can't. Almost like her tubes have been tied or something of that sort. Now, I don't know that to be true, but that's what the people are saying on the social media platforms. Now, Justin is uncomfortable with the pace. He feels like it's way too fast. And in the previous episode, he was like, oh, we could potentially miss red flags and stuff like that. They end up meeting at the bridge. He said it feels like love for him. Mika is kind of awkward. She doesn't want to say love. But I think she's kind of at a similar place to Justin where it's like. Because she mentioned last episode, it's not love, but it's really liking him. So maybe that's what Justin is trying to say by it feels like love. So either way goes, she reads her speech, she ends up telling him yes. So they both choose each other. So we have one successful couple in the bag. Then they do this whole river boating type of situation. I would have wanted to see more romance there, but maybe it's because they're both introverted people. I'm not sure, but it didn't give I'm so in love, Now, she tells him before they kind of end up going away with the boat, don't sabotage yourself and trust her and whatever. So I don't know what's gonna happen with them. She posted on her social media platform after the episode aired. This is what she said. She said, him is more than anyone else, to love and be loved. That's all we ever really want. So hopefully, and she hashtags black love, couple goals, relationship goals, love, explore, ready to love. So hopefully they're still going strong. I have no clue. Hopefully. Because I remember Venetia did a similar thing where she posted the ending and it appeared like they were going strong and whatever. And then come to the reunion, we found out that their whole relationship was just a whole dramatic experience. Now, Patrice, in my opinion, initially, I said she's not picking Alonzo. Because this is just too weird. You don't wait this long to choose somebody you really want. Like, you don't add somebody else to your roster if you're 100% sure about the person that you want. So I thought it was really weird because typically when you have like love triangles like this was a fake love triangle. This is a made up love triangle. But typically when they show one person having two options left and they have to decide between the two, they don't show the one where the other person gets rejected. They only show the person that gets accepted. So I thought it was really weird that you have Chaz that just came from being rejected by Vanessa going into another situation with Patrice and Alonzo. I thought that was so weird. And he barely even knew Patrice, but he was willing to choose Patrice over Vanessa. I found that to be very weird. I would take Chaz more seriously if he chose himself and just said, I wish we had more time, and just left it at that. You don't know enough about Patrice for you to choose Patrice. You know what I'm saying? But he chose Patrice, and Patrice ended up rejecting him. And I think we were all so relieved by that because we're like, finally he gets his karma. Not karma, but he gets his just, what do they call it? Just delights, just whatever. But he got it. This rejection that he was avoiding all throughout this season, he got it by Patrice. And he took a flower, and then he's talking about, oh, this flower, I will water it and hope that it grows. Some BS he was saying. And like somebody in the comment section says, a flower that has been plucked doesn't grow. A flower whose stems have been cut like roses, that flower does not grow. So you talking about you hope something grows and whatever, it's just BS. Just go away with that flower nonsense. Now, for me, I felt like, okay, she moved to the Alonzo thing. And I was like waiting for Alonzo to get rejected. And prior to that whole final date thing, she went on a date with Alonzo, and they were talking, and she's like, oh, I have fun with him. And for me, it seemed like their connection was really surface level and superficial. And she keeps saying she wants more, which is why I'm shocked she didn't go with Chaz, because Chaz would be what she wanted. The only thing was that Chaz didn't have the butterflies that she wanted. She wasn't attracted to Chaz. She liked the lifestyle that Chaz has. She wants to be where Chaz is, or she is where Chaz is, and she probably thought that logically it made sense. But ultimately, the emotional aspect of the relationship, it just wasn't there. It didn't form. It formed too late, With Alonzo, there's not as much. It's like he's not up there at her level yet. He's still working on building his life and his wealth and his whatever it is. And it's appeared that he's not ready for her logically, but they have fun, right? And in my mind, I was fully prepared for Patrice to also not pick Alonzo. I would have been perfectly fine with that, because clearly the reason why she's conflicted with both guys is because they both don't have everything she wants. We have Chaz, who has the life she wants, but she's not attracted to him. She's not that interested in him romantically. And then you have Alonzo, I guess that she's romantically interested in. They have fun, but he's not at the stage of life that she would want him to be, And so I guess it would make sense if she chose herself, but she ended up choosing Alonzo, and I was so shocked by that. Because to me, Alonzo never seemed ready to give her what she wanted. Like, he was just all about playing games, So this whole thing shocked me. And as I said, something was missing with both. So that was that, you guys. That was the entire episode. It's really interesting because Chaz went on to, I don't know if it's because he got rejected, but prior to this episode airing, he goes on Crystal Exo's page and he's talking about, he saw Patrice as somebody that wanted to be saved. Basically, he said he thinks other women wanted to be saved. They wanted to be cared for, financially, secured. And so I feel like what he was saying was, the women saw him as this ticket to being wealthy, this ticket to a good life. And even with Patrice, he said he saw that too. So my thing about it is, well, if you saw it from Patrice, then why did you pick her at the end? And I think that's a question that Crystal Exo said she also has for him, because you came on Crystal's channel like, yeah, I saw it too. I saw these women only wanted me for my... So then if that's the case, why did you pick her? Or are you only speaking in hindsight after finding out more things? Because then Luron goes and says, because Patrice came to my house and she was cleaning my house and rubbing my feet. I don't know if maybe after he found out about that whole situation with Patrice rubbing Luron's feet, but it's confusing to go ahead of the enemy by going on these talk shows and trying to clear your name, when it's like, it's immature, because we don't know what you guys are talking about. We can only be able to assess what you say after we've seen the episode, and we hadn't seen it, so we didn't understand what Chaz was talking about. And so It would have made sense if we hadn't seen the final episode, but we see the final episode and we see you choose Patrice, but then you're over here on Crystal's channel talking about how she only wanted you for your money and your wealth and whatever the case may be. Like, that's weird to me. So anyways, we see the clip of the of the reunion, and it seemed as if Alonzo is a piece of ish because Patrice is putting him on full blast and saying that he was sleeping with 3 women. So he was cheating on Patrice that whole time. I want to see what he says and how he clears that up. Then we have Luron, and Alexis has some words for Luron, and I don't know if they get into something physical because she is at the backstage running into the cameras talking about she has no time to play or whatever the case is. It's about to be crazy, and we have Will corroborating what Alexis is saying. He's like, Luron was at the base of a lot of mess that went on, and I think Little Black Book also says, yeah, he saw the messages from Will, and it does seem as if Luron did cause some mess as well. As much as he's trying to say it was Will, Luron also did some stuff too. So, and then Glenn comes in and makes an appearance, which to me makes no sense because Glenn didn't even attempt to see the rest of the contestants. He left. So there's that, and then we're gonna see how Miss Mika and Justin are doing. So anyways, you guys, let me know in the comment section what you thought about this episode. Like, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye bye.